Hi, I'm Lulu Verneuil, and I'm the Camp Erin Clinical Coordinator at Snohomish Camp Erin from Seattle, Washington.
My name is Nicole Sotkiewicz. I am the Camp Erin Coordinator for King and Snohomish County. The first Camp Erin was us up in Everett. Woohoo! It was established in Everett, Washington in 2002 to honor Erin Metcalf, which we'll share a little bit about her in a minute. And now there is over 30 camps across the country. Wherever there is Major League Baseball is where the camps are established in those cities.
Erin, I didn't have the opportunity to meet her, but she lived in Snohomish, Washington. Her parents started Camp Erin to really support kids who have experienced a significant loss as defined by them and their family. So we have campers that are able to come who have had a parent death, a sibling, close family member, or people who are significant to them. Camp is typically a Friday through Sunday with 2 overnights. We in Snohomish rent a beautiful camp outdoor setting that's on a lake, and it really gives kids a chance to get out of the city and to connect with other kids who are also experiencing a loss.
What we hear most from campers is that they're not alone. And so that's why Camp Erin is so important. Grief can be really isolating, especially at such a young age.
We're really creating an emotionally but also physically safe place for kids to come. And it's really kind of difficult, like you said, Nicole, for parents to drop them off and let them be away from them for 2 days. Prior to the applications are even sent by the families, volunteers are gathering and we're looking through the details of how to make this really a powerful camp by having fun outdoor setting, swimming on the lake and those kinds of things, but also really meaningful grief activities.
First, we just want to talk a little bit too about organizations that help us with camp because it is free for campers. We definitely couldn't do it without the support of the community. Here in Everett, we have a couple awesome organizations or businesses that really help us out a lot. Providence Foundation does all the legwork and brings in a ton of money for us. We're able to do this year after year. We can't do it without them, but they brought in some really awesome contributors for camp. Project Linus, they are nationwide and they do help us in different counties, but they make us these cozy comfort quilts each year that go on all the bunks, and then the campers get to take their own quilt home. And that just really helps to providing comfort items when they come to camp because they are being in a rough place. We have Warm 1069 that is awesome in donating teddy bears every year. I believe they bring them from the hockey games. Everybody donates bears to the hockey games. They throw them on ice. They get them all ready and prepared for us and then drop them off for us. And then Great Yarns makes these super adorable outfits for each of the bears. Campers of all ages absolutely love the bears and their little outfits.
I've heard from clients or people that I talk to years after camp, and they continue to have their quilt and bears. And so it's such a cool item they get at camp, and it reminds them as they get older of this community and these other friends.
We had a camper probably like 8 or 9, and then she's in her late 20s now and she still has her bears. So it's definitely an important item. But yeah, and then also there's the aqua socks. They're super awesome. Before camp, we get all the campers together so they're able to meet each other and feel a little bit more comfortable going into camp. And so the aqua socks, they donate tickets for all of us to be able to do a little pre-camp activities and then attend one of their games. And then the younger campers get to go out and run around the field and they get a huge kick out of that. The last couple of years, what's been super successful is the Amazon wish list with all of our staff, and then whoever the staff shares with their family or friends. We get a ton of donations off of that. So just a little shout out to everybody in our community that's helping us make Camp Erin happen year after year.
I think of this last year, the Amazon wish list, and as things started arriving, really like so many supplies, and you don't realize when you put on a camp for 80 kids, scissors and tape. And for each activity that we do that will be meaningful, it takes a lot. And so we're so appreciative.
But yeah, so our typical camp year, Lulu, do you want to share more about that? And then I can.
Yeah, families hear about us lots of different ways. They're school counselors, they're community members, our website. And so they send in an application and we review it. And then we meet with every camper to really assess if this is a good fit for them for this year. As we meet with campers, we're talking about what are some of their worries. And this can be for the kids as well as for the grown-ups. Always get lots of interesting questions during those interviews as kids are really assessing, is this for me? They have a lot of questions about the swimming and safety and boating, and they're kind of nervous about having to share about the person who died. And so I think one of the cool things we do is kids really get to own their story. So I remind them that they don't have to share about the grief. They don't have to share until they feel comfortable with the kids in their cabins. And that really reassures them and reminds them that we are taking their loss really seriously and that this is significant and it's private. The other thing we do is if kids have brothers or sisters coming to camp, we try to get them in different cabins so each camper can really have their own experience and share about their loss in the ways that they want to. And then I think on that day, I think of Friday when kids are dropped off, there's this nervous energy, excitement, but also a lot of fear. I don't know, when they arrive and they're trying to find their cabins and bringing their luggage, well, they first see all the other campers and realize, wow, there's all these kids that are like me, because many of them don't know other campers. That's so touching to me. And then when they see their comfort items on their bed, just so fun. What do you think of when you think of camp?
Just how anxious everybody is, the volunteers and the campers together, just because, what do you expect? Like, hey, let's go to grief camp. That's super cool, right? And you're like, oh, I don't know about that. But what are we going to expect? Yeah, it is just a ton of nervous energy in the beginning. And so it is just really incredible, how quickly they come in, oh my gosh, I don't know about this. Or even in the interview, I'm not so sure about this. And then, you step foot on camp and things get going and moving and kids are connecting. And then, within 48 hours, we have best friends made.
We try to slow them in. So they come and we do a lot of fun, just field games. And then they get to meet their cabins and go spend some time in their cabin and moving into their bunk. And then typically Friday night, they have an opportunity to share. They've brought a picture of who died and can share in their cabins, but also publicly with the camp.
Friday night is actually one of my most favorite memories from camp. It's so incredible, these young campers being able to talk about such a vulnerable subject and just open up and then surround each other. I mean, depending on the camp size, 20, 30 teens that none of them know each other. And teens, it's kind of an awkward stage, right? But they literally just surround each other and welcome each other and how open and loving they are. It's really, really incredible to see. And I won't forget Friday night.
Do you want to talk about the Luminaries?
Yeah, the Luminaries are pretty incredible. We create the Luminaries Saturday and then do a Luminary ceremony Saturday night, which is probably our biggest, most impactful thing for volunteers and campers all. They're rice paper with 4 sides, and then they float in the water on this wood base. Some of them will write letters to their person who died, memories, pictures. The little ones, it's lots of pictures or favorite colors or this or that, but they're all just so different. Yeah, Saturday night, we all gather around the water, and then they have an opportunity to share about the person that died and then release that luminary into the water. And so, we'll have around 80 luminaries just floating into the water. And for a lot of those campers, it's their first time they really get to release their feelings. We have a lot of campers that jump in the parent role, and so they can't grieve how they may want, or even, maybe it's some feelings that they feel that aren't okay. But then at camp, it's a safe place, and we've created that so then they can just release all of that.
I think it's cool because sometimes memorial services or celebrations of life or funerals have been created by the adults in their family. And so this is an opportunity for them to grieve with what fits for them. And for some, it might be releasing feelings of regret. Oftentimes kids, after they've had a death, feel like they caused the person that died. And before this cool activity on Saturday night is the grief walk. And it really takes them through a little nature walk, identifying 5 or 6 different traits and feelings that are common with grief and death. And then Sunday, we oftentimes have another night in their cabin, and we do campfires with s'mores and do a lot of burning off energy and have a chance for them to share with each other what this has meant or what they're hoping for in the future. And I think some of the teen cabins with technology, some of the parents connect and try to meet up after camp. I think some of the teens connect virtually and continue to be a support. And as we transition away from camp, talk about how this community is always there, even if you can't talk to them, but just knowing you're not alone. One of the other activities I loved was the bubble release. And we had included bubbles with some dissolvable paper. So campers could write a message to the person who died or a message of release of things about the loss that they wanted to let go of, and then put it in their bubbles. And then after camp closed for the day, they would go out and blow. And we had many families talk about how the campers loved that. And then we included enough paper that they could continue to write messages. It actually helps with deep breathing, even though you don't tell them that. But as you blow a bubble, if you blow a slow bubble, it helps to release all the air from your lungs. So
I think that was one of the favorites of most campers. They were super excited to run outside and blow their bubbles.
I'm so glad we could talk today. We don't often talk about all the good things and the hard things. Yeah. We're doing the work, but it's really good to have the conversation today.
We could keep going with more and more stories, but another time.
Another time.